The forest tonight was unlike any ordinary night, heavy with mist that curled and twisted around ancient roots and fallen branches, casting everything in a pale, silvery haze that seemed to move with a life of its own. The towering trees, old as centuries, leaned in closer than ever, their gnarled branches stretching like skeletal hands toward the traveler, as though attempting to feel, to touch, to warn. The air was cold and damp, filled with the scent of pine and wet earth, but beneath that familiar forest aroma lay something older, a tang of something forgotten and ancient, lingering in the very essence of the woods. Every leaf seemed to quiver, as if whispering secrets to those who would listen. Soft murmurs almost lost within the gentle rustling of the wind and the occasional hoot of a distant owl. The traveler moved carefully, each step deliberate, boots sinking slightly into the soft moss that covered the uneven forest floor, the lantern they carried casting a weak, wavering glow that revealed glimpses of twisted roots and glistening leaves, but could never fully penetrate the surrounding darkness. Shadows bent unnaturally at the edges of vision, and though the forest seemed quiet, an underlying hum threaded through the air, subtle but insistent, like the pulse of the forest itself, watching, waiting, remembering. As they moved deeper, the mist thickened, coiling around their legs and hands, cold and damp, making each step feel heavier, more deliberate, as if the very air resisted movement. The traveler paused occasionally, convinced that footsteps echoed theirs only to find nothing there, and yet the feeling of being observed never left, creeping up their spine like a whisper of ice. Finally, through the haze, the cabin emerged, small and decayed, cloaked in creeping vines and moss, windows empty like hollow eyes staring silently into the night. The door, slightly ajar, swayed in a gentle breeze, producing a creak that seemed louder than natural, a sound that resonated deep within the chest. The traveler hesitated, but the pull of curiosity was stronger than caution, and with a breath that tasted of the damp forest air, they pushed the door open. Inside, stale, cold air greeted them, carrying faint smoke from fires long extinguished, mixed with the scent of decay, wood, and something unidentifiably ancient. Dust rose in tiny clouds with each cautious step, floorboards groaning softly beneath boots, and shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, flickering as though reacting to the lantern's weak light. In the corner lay a chest, worn and carved with symbols so old that recognition was impossible. Trembling fingers lifted its lid to reveal brittle papers, yellowed and curling, filled with faded writing about promises broken, rituals long forgotten, and spirits bound within the very forest itself. The whispers rose, subtle at first, threading around the cabin, soft but insistent, encouraging exploration yet warning of consequences. Then, the floor revealed a faint outline of a trap door, nearly invisible under the thin dust layer, a hidden threshold to something long concealed. Trembling, the traveler reached for it. As their hand brushed the wood, the air grew colder, the faint whispers merging into a soft, ghostly chorus that seemed to circle the cabin, urging, pleading, and sometimes laughing softly yet hauntingly. Impossible to locate or identify, the lantern flickered violently and died, leaving only the dim, natural light from the mist outside to guide their eyes. A cold draft brushed past, carrying with it faint footsteps that echoed at the edge of hearing, moving in a rhythm that matched the traveler's own heartbeat. The trap door lifted with effort, revealing a staircase descending into darkness, faintly illuminated by a glow from below, accompanied by a low resonant hum that vibrated through the walls and into the traveler's chest. Each step downward felt endless, the shadows moving independently of the lantern, curling and stretching as if alive, guiding, testing, or even mocking the intruder. At the bottom, a chamber awaited, walls etched with ancient carvings that glowed faintly in the dim light, the floor pulsing gently beneath their feet, as though the chamber itself had a heartbeat. Papers from the chest now revealed themselves with a soft illumination, glowing inscriptions describing forbidden knowledge, warnings, and secrets that had been buried for centuries. Whispers swirled in a chorus around the chamber, voices overlapping, some pleading, some warning, some laughing softly yet hauntingly. Impossible to locate or identify. Cold drafts moved unpredictably, brushing past the traveler like invisible fingers, and silhouettes flickered at the edges of perception, never fully forming but always present. Every heartbeat echoed through the chamber, mingling with the hum of the glowing symbols and the soft, constant rustle of the forest above, creating a hypnotic, immersive soundscape that pressed against the senses and demanded full attention. The traveler traced the glowing carvings with fingers that shook slightly, sensing that the chamber, the cabin, and the forest itself were entwined in a living web of consciousness and memory, a network older than the land, bound by centuries of sorrow, anger, and unfinished stories. Whispers intensified, forming words almost decipherable but elusive, their meaning teasing the edge of understanding, layering suspense and fear in every sound. Shadows shifted with a life of their own, stretching and condensing, moving in ways the mind could not easily comprehend. The traveler felt the presence of spirits both near and far, bound to the cabin, the forest, and the hidden chamber beneath the trapdoor. Time seemed to slow, each second stretching endlessly as they moved carefully, mesmerized and terrified, drawn deeper into the forest's secret heart. Suddenly, the hum of the chamber increased, a low, resonant vibration that seemed to come from the very walls, pressing against the chest, making breathing deliberate and measured. Faint flickers of movement danced across the glowing carvings, as if something unseen traced the ancient symbols with invisible fingers. The whispers became urgent, a chorus that rose and fell rhythmically, circling, surrounding, entering the mind without words but carrying a message that was felt rather than understood. The traveler felt an overwhelming pull toward the center of the chamber, drawn to a glowing symbol that pulsed brighter than the rest, its light soft but penetrating, bathing the floor, walls, and ceiling in an ethereal glow. Each step toward it seemed heavier, as if the air thickened and the floor pulsed more intensely beneath their feet. When they finally stood over it, the whispers subsided slightly, replaced by a low hum that resonated in every corner of the chamber. They realized that the cabin and forest had secrets beyond comprehension, stories unfinished, promises broken, spirits bound in limbo, and that each visitor became part of that continuum, even if unknowingly. The forest outside remained alive, the wind rustling leaves, distant owl calls echoing through the night, but the cabin's interior was a world apart, separate yet entwined, a living memory suspended in mist and shadow. Time ceased to matter, each breath and heartbeat marking a rhythm in tune with the cabin's hidden life. The traveler, though terrified, could not turn away, compelled to explore every corner, touch every glowing paper, understand every symbol, to bear witness to centuries of untold stories. Shadows moved and twisted, always at the edge of sight. Voices whispered from nowhere, and the air grew colder and heavier with every step. But curiosity and fascination overcame fear. The chest, the trapdoor, the glowing carvings, the low hum of the chamber, and the constant whispering of spirits created a web that entrapped attention and senses completely. Every sound, the faint creak of floorboards, the rush of air through cracks in the cabin, the gentle rustling of distant leaves, the soft hoot of owls, blended seamlessly with whispers, forming an immersive soundscape of suspense, mystery, and haunted beauty. The traveler began to notice patterns in the glowing symbols, hints of stories, fragmented memories of those who had come before, echoes of lives long past, and spirits restless with unfinished business. Each discovery brought a wave of awe, fear, and reverence, reinforcing the truth that the forest, the cabin, and the hidden chamber itself were alive with memory, emotion, and consciousness stretching across decades, centuries, and beyond. The whispers now felt like a dialogue, not fully understandable but urging caution, patience, and respect. The low hum vibrated beneath feet and chest, syncing rhythmically with the heart, creating a hypnotic sensation that pulled the traveler deeper into concentration, attention, and suspense. The glowing symbols pulsed softly, and faint, nearly invisible figures moved at the corners of vision, sometimes mimicking the traveler, sometimes moving independently, always unseen directly, always present. Hours seemed to pass, or perhaps minutes. Time had no meaning here, only awareness, only sensation, only the ever-present breath of the forest, the cabin, and the chamber.